Welcome back. The Pentax 17 is coming up on its first birthday, so as Rico gets ready to blow out the candles and hopefully announce the next step in the film camera line, I'd like to propose an alternative to anyone who is interested in the 17 or may have been turned off by some of the limits that camera has. Because this might come as a surprise, Rico did release the film camera that everyone wants. And by that I mean they came out with this lens. This is the HD Pentax FA 50mm f1.4, or as I'll be referring to it from here on out, the HD50. It's a 2023 lens released by Pentax to commemorate their classic SMC design of the 50-1.4 and their long history of making great nifty 50s. And I think this is one of the best purchases a film photographer can make in 2025. But why should you get one of these instead of the Pentax 17? I want to look at the value proposition of the Pentax 17. It has a couple pros and a lot of cons that make it a really hard sell for a lot of photographers. The first and most obvious pro of the Pentax 17 is that it has a modern coated lens. The lens they put on that camera is incredible and really does pull out some impressive detail on half frame. It's no secret that modern lens science has gotten really good. I mean, there's a reason people buy late era Canon film bodies that are EF compatible. The 17 also carries the indisputable benefit of a brand new warranty. It has automatic film modes, if you swing that way, and a pretty tight construction. But it's a half frame camera. It's zone focus. And those automatic modes, they could be really limiting for a lot of photographers. So I propose the alternative. The HD50 came out as a pair of lenses with an HD and SMC variety. The SMC variety was made in order to replicate the classic look of vintage Pentax lenses, specifically those with the thorium coating that imparted a warmness into photos due to degrading radioactive material. Whereas the HD feels like the next step in the evolution of Pentax Nifty 50s. And I really like Pentax Nifty 50s. The original M42 version of the 50-1.4 Super Tac featured a lens stack similar to that of the Voigtlander Ultron lenses.
Ultron, yes, I know.
And Pentax iterated on that lens throughout its history, going into the K-mount with the KA series, to the M line, to the A line, and so on and so forth, till we get to today with the HD and SMC variants of the lens, modeled after the 90s variety. Both versions of the 2023 release, the HD and the SMC, are optically the same though. Only difference being those two coatings. I have the HD version, and while I can see the value in the SMC version, I already have plenty of vintage glass. All right, Nick, that's fine and good. But why is this a better value buy than the 17, you might ask? Well, the HD50 comes in at a fair price around the $300 mark, depending on where you shop, and it's a K-mount lens. For those unfamiliar, Pentax, unlike a lot of other legacy brands, Nikon, did not abandon their film era lens mount. Pentax still uses the K-mount all the way up to their brand new cameras today. My classic Pentax lenses work all the way on my K1000, the first K-mount camera, to my brand new K1, and will continue working on the even newer K3 Mark III that just came out. If you're a camera nerd, you may have noted that the HD50 has a clickable aperture ring. That's what makes it special and makes it compatible with a lot of these older cameras. So long as your K-mount lens has a clickable aperture ring, you can use it on any K-mount body. And if it has the A function, like the HD50, it can then be used in automatic modes on newer bodies. Additionally, unlike a lot of modern lenses, it features a manual focus ring, and one of the smoothest ones I've ever used. The focus on this lens is better than just about every other camera I've held, and I've held a lot of cameras and a lot of lenses. Additionally, the HD50 features Pentax's screw drive autofocus, which they do still support on their modern bodies, and works with their 90s era film SLRs. Given how prolific Pentax was in the film era, the value proposition of picking up this with an older film body is a really compelling offer. Pairing this with the right film body, or really the film body of your preference, really checks all the same boxes as the Pentax 17, as well as being full frame. Consider a new film shooter picking up the Pentax 17 for $500. Or they pick up the HD50 for $300 and then finding a later model Pentax SLR, one of perhaps the Z line, with all the same automatic modes and probably more, depending on which body you get, and full frame capability. For $100 less, you're getting a camera that's very capable in a professional setting, as well as being a great amateur camera with better manual options. All in, they're looking at about a $400 kit with incredible optics and features that blow a K1000 or a Minolta SRT 101 completely out of the water. And with that $100 saved, you can afford at least one roll of Ektachrome in 2025. Or say you want a more manual shooting experience, something the Pentax 17 does offer in a fairly limited capacity. Any of the Pentax manual film bodies, the K1000, the KX, the MX, that era, are all incredible offerings, incredibly reliable cameras, and they're made even better when pairing them with this lens. This setup right here has been my go-to for just about every trip I've gone on since I purchased this lens back in the fall. It was my go-to in Utah, where pretty much every picture taken on 35 was with this setup right here. It's an incredibly lightweight design that still feels very sturdy and resilient. It is a plastic outer housing of incredibly high quality, but does feature an internal lens barrel made of metal. And the optics, frankly, they speak for themselves. If you're considering buying a Pentax 17 and you've done just a little bit of research, you probably know what shooting mode you're going to be using most often. It's not difficult to find the Pentax body that can match that shooting mode for you, and pairing it with this lens will be an outstanding experience. And with an optimistic outlook on Pentax's film project, considering the somewhat runaway success of the 17, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that if and when Pentax releases their SLR, it will have a K-mount. And if we're really lucky, it'll have autofocus, which this lens is ready for. Something I've seen a lot of is people buying a Pentax 17 just to support the project. And while I understand why, and I'm glad that this project's getting the support that it's getting, I, like many photographers, only require gear that serves a practical purpose in my workflow, with some novelty exceptions. The 17 just doesn't have a place in my workflow. And while I would love to support Pentax's film efforts, I'd like to do so with a product that I actually want, that is instrumental to the work that I create. I can actually use this lens. In fact, it's a necessity at this point when I travel. So much so that it's pretty much at the top of my packing list whenever I'm going on a photography trip. If you're really passionate about what Pentax is doing, but you're not able to shell out $500 for what is, in many people's cases, a novelty, I would certainly consider the HD50. It's about as easy to find a Pentax film body on a secondhand marketplace as it is to find a Leica shooter who just takes pictures of their cameras. And given that this lens is compatible with just about all of them, I really don't think you'd be disappointed by it. So if you're in the market and you want to support Pentax in general, give this lens a shot. It's got great optics, great ergonomics, and I've gotten great results with it so far and will continue to do so into the future. And on that great day when Pentax announces and releases the LX2, I'll be ready. Till next time. Clip that.